So, Superman is a movie that has been so controversial among us effing nerds that for a very long time now, and frankly, I realize now how silly it is to be, let's face it, whining about such trivial aspects of a superhero movie, particularly one such as this, which has been it's kind of been billed as a much more light-hearted, well-meaning, kind of sort of a kids movie for a while now, and which is not to say that a superhero movie cannot be deep and impactful, or that a character's backstory and abilities or the quote unquote trivial aspects don't matter in some way. Marvel's recent history has proven that time and time again those things do matter quite a lot. And more importantly, though, is that good storytelling is shockingly the most important part of any movie. Because I mean, people, come on. If you're nitpicking a trailer frame by frame for the moment that Superman blinks or Lex Luthor doesn't, um, just to prove that Man of Steel was better, um, then I think you might have a little too much time on your hands, honestly. Um, but I digress. Because the Superman movie of today is out now, today, and I have just seen it, and I have to say that I was really impressed. I mean, really, I was like, because the trailer made it seem like what it is. And I'm not really used to very honest trailers like that. And truly, it is just a really good, heartfelt, well-meaning movie about the sort of traditional Superman uh, ideas and goals and yeah, motives, right? That it's about kindness and hope and justice, in a really interesting way. They portray it all very well, I think. And I will say this: James Gunn just kills it as a director, as always. I mean, and seriously, as a director, not just as a storyteller, say, but the shots in the movie are just incredible. The way the cameras pan back and forth and around, um, and I was really kind of enthralled by some of the action scenes, not all of them though. But that was mainly due to kind of repetition, and there's a little bit of a lack of relevance to the plot sometimes. The fights drag on a little longer than they should sometimes. Um, it doesn't do much damage to the movie, but sometimes it felt like they were killing time, like an extra minute or so. Nothing, nothing absurd. But yeah, and of course, I'm going to try to keep the spoilers to a minimum here, but you probably figured that out already. A lot of people I know were kind of upset about is his name David Cornsweet? They were upset with him as Superman Clark Kent Kal-El, but you know what? He was perfectly fine in this, and he's e- every bit as good a casting as pretty much anyone we've had in the past. I mean, no one's going to be able to play the sort of dichotomy of Clark Kent and Superman as well as like Christopher Reeve, um, and no one's going to be able to Henry Cavill a performance up quite like Henry Cavill. And that's fine because Corn Sweat does his own thing here, and he brings this very strong, like well-meaning country kid, like Superman energy into the character with like his voice and his movement and his manner. He's just like as he's like acting and portraying the character, I get a very strong young Superman vibe from him, and it's fun that way. I think he was an all right Clark Kent too. Clark Kent isn't in this movie very much. He spends most of the time as Superman, um, and I think I do appreciate that they did go out of their way to justify the obvious Clark Kent conundrum being being the glasses uh, disguising his identity so completely, and they explain it in this by saying that his glasses are hypno glasses. They are sci-fi hypnotizing magic glasses that convince people into thinking that he looks different than he actually is. Which is like a kind of crazy, cute little dorky little explanation that I'm perfectly fine with. It's the kind of wacky thing that they would have come up with in the comics, and I'm sure they did, to explain why he can get by as Clark Kent so easily. But also, you've got like the fact that this explanation, too, about the hypno glasses was given not by Clark or by Lois, but by freaking Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, is even better because Nathan Fillion is just does a terrific job playing Guy Gardner, this fun character, because he is such a total jerk. Um, he's a kind of a selfish, arrogant weasel in a way, and yet he's got these great powers, and he kind of has this desire to help people. He doesn't want to hurt them, at least, and he's not a villain. He's a hero, and he's even better and made even more fun by the fact that it's the obviously talented and charming Nathan Fillion who always delivers. He does a great job in this. And meanwhile, all the other characters who I feared would bloat the movie and make it a bit too hard to follow, they actually enriched the movie. I think they kind of worked with this assumption that at this point in time, the audience gets it. We get that there are superheroes. We don't need to explain the concept of a superhero to you. They're around, so they're around, and obviously with hindsight, we should have seen this coming. That James Gunn has worked with these very massive casts before, and they've been some of the best superhero movies ever. Um, there was a bit of tonal whiplash every now and then, as the movie is very, at its core, kind of lighthearted, and there is this stupid flying dog who I don't love necessarily. Just sort of, even as a kid, I always thought the flying dog, the super dog, was a little silly. But nevertheless, it creates a very interesting, lighthearted tone for the movie. And then you've got the sort of made up politics of the made up nations. It kind of takes a really dark turn there at times. And Lex Luthor has a private, nightmare filled pocket dimension where he tortures people. Uh, and it's like I said, a bit of tonal whiplash. About midway through the movie, you kind of get used to it though, and it never leans too far one way or too far to the other, right? No more than like Suicide Squad or the Guardians of the Galaxy ever did. And that's to its credit. There was a I was surprised by the amount of swearing in this. Nothing major, no f bombs or anything. Um, most of it worked. I do think that Superman, even under stress, should not swear. He's a Boy Scout. He should say things like shoot or darn it, right? He's a country raised Boy Scout. So Superman shouldn't swear. In the future, he shouldn't swear even a little bit. That's just the way the character should be. As for Guy Gardner, let him do whatever he wants, right? He can be flipping people off and swearing all the time if necessary. Bleep out the most offensive stuff if you want, depending on the kind of movie. Um, but but yeah, Guy Gardner can swear as much as he likes because Guy Gardner is the kind of guy who would swear all the time. Superman shouldn't. Um, that's my 2 cents on that matter. Just a little tiny complaint there. It was like one instance, one swear on Superman's part, but it did rub me the wrong way, just a little bit. And meanwhile, again, like also in the movie, we have Lex Luthor, who's terrific in this. Honestly, actually not terrific. That honor goes to Mister Terrific. Lex is just great. But starting out, I did not like Lex, and I thought Nicholas Holt was maybe miscast a bit. But that's probably just because the last Nicholas Holt movie I'd seen was Nosferatu, where he played obviously a very different character. And surprise, surprise, Nicholas Holt is actually a good actor and can play more than one character. Um, because in this movie, Lex Luthor is good. He's very. Holt plays a maniacal, unsympathetic supervillain. He's playing into all sorts of tropes all at once. He's at first he comes across as a little bit of a petty, petulant, like a self-centered, a bit of a self-centered kind of politician type, only to subvert those tropes later on and remind you that this is not your next presidential candidate, right? This is a supervillain, and he has absurd, cartoonish motivations. Not even so much like power and wealth and authority or anything, but I want to kill this superhero because I decided that that's what I want to do. And honestly, I was half expecting him to launch into some sort of like M. Bison style rant, from the Street Fighter movie with Raul Julia, right? The all I wanted to do was create the perfect genetic soldier, and the even better one was the for I beheld Satan as he fell from heaven like lightning and all that, you know. And seriously, that Luthor had that energy about him, and it was good. That not all supervillains need to be oh so sympathetic and so no. Let Thanos be in love with the goddess of death and want to sacrifice the universe to her. That's good. I like that just as much as any of that sympathetic nonsense you've tried to force down my throat in the past. Um, so yeah, and there is also a bit of a love story in this movie, and I'm going to give a shout out to Rachel Brosnan. I think her name is, who did an amazing job as Lois Lane. Obviously, that they've taken a different, more nuanced direction with the character than in the past. She's very witty and a little awkward almost. But she looks like Lois, for starters, and she's very charismatic. And all the characters, by the way, just do come across. They look and feel very much like their most familiar iterations, except for the one guy who doesn't, but that's on purpose because it's a twist. Um, but Lois was good, great even. That her and Clark have this adorable, serious romance, and they do really try to make it work, and they work out their differences, and it's cute, right? I like it. And that said, the Daily Planet peeps, they could, I I didn't mind them necessarily, but they were like funny and useful and all. But if any characters needed to be retooled a little bit, um, it was probably them, Jimmy Olsen and Perry White. But it doesn't matter. It's still nitpicking, and Superman is a good movie. It's really freaking good. It's a fine, positive movie with a decent enough universal message. And while you can't escape the obvious, very modern attempts at making the movie politically relevant, also that stuff doesn't really matter. It's like that stuff is it's kind of divorced from the actual meat and meaning of the movie. Like you could change the setting almost entirely, and as long as the core elements of the story were still there, uh, the movie wouldn't be all that different. And that's, I think, a key to making the movie timeless in a way. And that is the way you do that stuff, right? If you want to do that stuff and do it well anyway, that's sort of the way you have to do it. Is disguise your work and make it appealing to more than just people of your own current time period. So yeah, and yeah, Superman is just good. It's a good movie, and I hope it does well. I think it is. But I mean, who knew? I When I first heard they were doing a Superman movie, and especially when I found out that Superdog was going to be in it, I was not expecting something good, to be honest. And now it's one of the best Superman movies I've ever seen, and certainly better than Man of Steel. Actually, about halfway through the movie, I did realize something, and that is when Man of Steel came out, and I was like, I think I must have been like 11 or 12. This was the Superman movie that I thought I was going to see then, right? Does that make any sense? Like, when I went in to see Man of Steel, I was expecting to see the Superman movie that came out now. Um, and I was so let down. Um, I hated that movie, honestly, and it's fine if you like it. I'm not going to shame anyone for liking that movie or any of Snyder's works. Uh, but yeah, and if we're being totally honest, I think this current Superman movie is also going to give Fantastic Four a run for its money. Going to be a big problem for Fantastic Four because people are going to be comparing it to this, and it's going to have very big shoes to fill. So I wish you luck, Pedro Pascal, and all you others. I sincerely hope the talents of Ralph Ineson as a villain can drag your movie out of the muck, and at least I hope it makes money. I hope it does. But it probably won't be better than Superman. Because, man, Superman was good. So, yeah, bye.